This bot is something that I use when I'm driving the car, when I'm walking the dog, when I'm sitting around at my desk trying to figure out what content to create. And you can enable voice mode and basically talk to it like you're having a VA interview you to help you come up with ideas about stories from your work, from your life, things that are interesting, things that you're thinking about. And I just find that it's really nice to have a conversation with something else, someone else about these topics to help get my thoughts out and find my next content piece. You can get free access to this bot as well within my Lenin Labs community, so stick around to the end of the video and I'll tell you exactly how to get in for free, sign up, and find the bot. So I wanted to show you what this looks like. The bot's just called I Interview You to find content ideas, and you can click one of the preset things like, hey, I'm ready to begin if you want. But what I like to do is I'll just fire it up and I will turn on the voice mode. Hey, I've turned on voice mode, and can you ask me a different question?
Ever taken a chance on a wild idea? How'd it turn out?
So this year, one of the things that I wanted to do was create this concept of a season pass within my membership. And I wanted to kind of do it in a way like a video game where when you do like a battle pass or a season pass and they roll out updates like every couple of weeks with something related to the season, and it goes on for a while and you have a core theme and there's a progression and it just feels like more coherent. And this was kind of a wild idea. I mean, I don't think it's that crazy, but it was for me, where I tend to do things kind of one at a time, and to plan ahead this much was a big deal.
That's such a cool way to think about structuring a membership, bringing in that game-like experience where there's a clear theme, progression, and regular updates. It makes everything feel more immersive and engaging. How did it feel shifting from your usual one-at-a-time approach to planning ahead like this?
It actually felt
Did it
really
change
good.
the way you work or how?
So you do have to wait when you're on normal voice mode for the AI to finish. And because this is a GPT, it can't work with the advanced voice mode where you can interrupt it. So you'll see there how I started to talk, but it wasn't done yet. The last question it asked was, how did it feel shifting to this approach? And did it change the way you work or how your members engage? I think that my members were really excited by the idea of the season. I definitely overshot how much we could accomplish in like a shorter 10, 12 week kind of cycle. And I overplanned my first season quite a bit. But I think that the clarity that I got by thinking about all of my content in the context of this season has been really good. And so like I love the effect that it had, even though my execution wasn't quite perfect here. And I think I ended up coming up with a really great set of programming that I want to do. Although ultimately, I think I'll have ended up pivoting a little bit based on just how things are going so far.
That's such a valuable takeaway. Just having that overarching theme gave you clarity, even if the execution needed some adjusting. It sounds like the structure itself helped you see your content in a new way. How did your members respond to it? Did they pick up on the seasonality and progression the way you envisioned, or did you have to adjust how you presented it to them?
Well, so what was interesting here was that some of the members wanted to get to content that was further down in the season that I had sort of teased or debuted as later on. And while they were interested in like my first thing was AI lead magnets, and people were fairly interested in that, they really wanted to get to the offer engineering or to the AI powered businesses portion of it. And so I got this immediate feedback from the marketplace in terms of what people were most interested in. Although I realize now that I could probably get the same feedback by proposing like, hey, here's some things coming up. Like, which ones are you most excited about? Which ones should I do? But this, it ended up having that unintended benefit of teaching me what people were really enthusiastic about. And so far, the early feedback and what's actually happened have been really well aligned.
That's fascinating. You basically built in a natural way to test demand without even meaning to. By rolling out content in a structured way, you got real-time feedback on what people were most eager to dive into. Now that you've seen how people react, do you think you'll structure future seasons differently? Maybe give them more say in the order or build in some flexibility.
So you can see how this just immediately gets me rolling. I'm talking about things, I'm thinking about things, I'm even having realizations about how I'm going to run my business. And as soon as I feel ready to create some content concepts, I can then ask, what are some content concepts that I could write about related to our conversation so far?
Here's a content idea based on our conversation. Concept: gamifying content with a season pass approach. Hook: what if your content strategy worked more like a video game, where members unlock value over time, stay engaged with clear progression, and build momentum with every step? That's the experiment I ran this year.
So you can listen to her say the entire content concept, or you can then go back and take a look at the UI and see it all written there. There will be a hook, a potential takeaway. So basically the beginning and the end, or some inspiration for the beginning and end of the post, along with some key points for potentially the body of what you want to write about, and verbatim quotes of things that you said that you might want to bring in or massage a little bit, but these are directly in your voice. And so there you've basically got your entire plan for your next email, your next social post, your next article, whatever it is, based on the conversation. And you can even, if you've had a longer conversation, ask for more ideas. What other content concepts came up in our conversation?
This idea naturally came out of what you were already reflecting on. It's just about shaping it into something that would resonate in a post or article. If you were to expand on this, do you think you'd want to focus more on the gamification angle, the audience feedback lesson, or how it changed your own workflow?
So now she's coming up with new ideas for me. There's 3 new potential pieces of content: gamification, audience feedback, or how it changed my workflow. So I just wanted to share this with you. A lot of people could benefit from this quite a bit, I feel like. And you may not have $1,000 or $2,000 a month to pay a VA to interview you and to help you out with your content, but you can do this anytime that you want. I love to do it personally in the car. I just find that that's a really nice time if I'm driving somewhere. I can talk to the AI for 20 minutes and get my next content concept figured out, and just overall super helpful. And then you just basically come back to ChatGPT and look up that conversation. In fact, the hardest thing can be that oftentimes the beginning of the conversation is something like, "Hey, can you hear me?" or "Hey, I'm ready to begin." And ChatGPT will label it something awkward, like it's called reliving moments. And so I'm just going to go ahead and rename this content regarding season pass so that I can find it later. I might even rename it with an emoji so that I can differentiate it. I'll go ahead and put a little star emoji there so that I can find it more easily. So that's the process. And you can join the Lenin Labs membership for free and get access to this. It's in an area I call the Subscriber Hub, which is under courses. And if you click My Free AI Tools, you'll see that there's chatbots and business tools. And one of them is called I Interview You to Find Content Ideas. It's the second one right here. And that will have the link to the ChatGPT version. And if you're a Poe.com user, even a different version. So really cool, free tool. I encourage all of you to check it out. And you can find more about this and subscribe to get into it at leninlabs.com.